Tell them run it up. I wake up. Yeah. I wake up. Flex. Thumb down now. Check. No drip this. Wet. Tell them run it up. No sleep, no rest. Might crash, might wreck. But first I stretch. Tell them run it up. I wake up. Flex. Thumb down now. Check. No drip this. Wet. Tell them run it up. No sleep, no rest. Might crash, might wreck. But first I stretch. Tell them run it up. 9 out of 10 roll through my hands, I'm by my lonely. Turned to a savage, now my baby wants to hold me. I love my fans, don't need no friends, I got my homies. Thought I could trust you, I find out you tried to zone me. I'm number one up on that court, I'm Nick McGrady. The first one in, the last one out, can't call me lazy. Put in my hours, send the invoice and they pay me. I need 6 rings like MJ and Tom Brady. I wake up, flex, thumb down now, check. No drip this, wet. Tell them run it up. No sleep, no rest. Might crash, might wreck. But first I stretch. Tell them run it up. I wake up, flex, thumb down now, check. No drip this, wet. Tell them run it up. No sleep, no rest. Might crash, might wreck. But first I stretch. Tell them run it up. Y'all gon' make me take that trip way out to Europe. I call up Nigeria, come through in a hurry. Those London boys don't come to play, you should get worried. One false move, find yourself there getting buried. Dance with the devil, used to love playing those games. Made some bad decisions that brought my mama pain. I made a promise to her, swore that I would change. I'm on the come up, bet I live up to my name. I wake up, flex, thumb down now, check. No drip this, wet. Tell them run it up. No sleep, no rest. Might crash, might wreck. But first I stretch. Tell them run it up. I wake up, flex, thumb down now, check. No drip this, wet. Tell them run it up. No sleep, no rest. Might crash, might wreck. But first I stretch. Tell them run it up.
Famous, number one, desirable. I do what I want, when I want, and how I want it. Leave you with the one in the air, that's how I roll. I got tons of soul, I'm a true collectible. Famous, also famous, number one, desirable. I do what I want, when I want, and how I want it. Leave you with the one in the air, that's how I roll. I got change to throw, I don't care about no gold. Better, so much better, flipping, incredible. Always on the show, so they know that I still got it. And I never feel sorry, yeah, top of the world. The world, yeah, top of the world, top of the world, yeah, top of the world, top of the world, yeah, top of the world, top of the world, yeah, top of the world. When I hear him come like my fuse and then ba-bum. Later, see you later, I'm about to blow this up. You can sing my song if you want, I know you want it. It's always kinda funny, yeah, cause you I know. Of how they love, they can bring me down, nah, nah, nah. They are jealous of me and my umbrella, yeah, they love me slow. This is me, I'm so royal, and you all wanna be round, yeah, and you all wanna be round. Round a champion, a champion. Royal, and top of the world, yeah, top of the world, and top of the world, yeah, top of the world.
Swipe, 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 swipe. Swipe, swipe,
swipe, swipe, swipe. Just picked up some bands, come again, come again. They do what I do, I'm like Simon says. Yeah, I'm the running man, rapping rubber bands, rubber bands. They do what I do, I'm like Simon says. They do what I do, I'm like Simon says. Swerving, making plays, good Ferrari red. Never out my zone, touchdown in my hands. Only fam around me, I can't have no friends. Had to cut you off, you left me out for dead. Ever since I was a teen, had prices on my head. Had to cut you off, you left me out for dead. They do what I do, I'm like Simon says. Just picked up some bands, come again, come again. They do what I do, I'm like Simon says. Yeah, I'm the running man, rapping rubber bands, rubber bands. They do what I do, I'm like Simon says. Just picked up some bands, come again, come again. They do what I do, I'm like Simon says. Yeah, I'm the running man, rapping rubber bands, rubber bands. They do what I do, I'm like Simon says. Yeah, ballpoint on the beat, ballpoint make them dance. Yeah, we came up from nothing, now we're making plans. Yeah, just picked up some bands, just picked up some bands. Tell her ask it questions when I come and grind. On the run like a runaway. Only way is the money way. New chain, no jewelry. No games, don't fool me. 21, been a boss. Play the game, pay the cost. Heard you rolling TikTok. Need to get another watch. Just picked up some bands, come again, come again. They do what I do, I'm like Simon says. Yeah, I'm the running man, rapping rubber bands, rubber bands. They do what I do, I'm like Simon says. Just picked up some bands, come again, come again. They do what I do, I'm like Simon says. Yeah, I'm the running man, rapping rubber bands, rubber bands. They do what I do, I'm like Simon says. If they want the smoke, then yeah, it's no jokes, boy, it's up. In the end zone, that's a TD, we finessing job. Filling up the stat sheets and they knowing that's a plus. Back to back, highlight plays, all my moves is tough. Watch them all die out, I've been killing with my looks. Feeling like a pro, I've been schooling all these rugs. They be betting all us, calling plays out the books. Little bit of prayer, hard work, that's all it took. All I want, W's and bankrolls, that's all I want. All I want, that's all I want. W's and bankrolls, that's all I want.
Hey, all I want is money, power, respect, though. Can I take our foot up off they necks? No. I saw the duo, yeah, we next, bro. Do not call my phone, send a text. They see us by our style, send our checks, though. She licked me up and down, that's from head to toe. About to catch a flight, let's go to Mexico. Living in the moment, cause you never know.
So now you know, I'm just like Xavier Rushan with the pep talk. Third time the charm, third down and they step up. Keep it in go, now we cannot let off. QB, I keep me a pack like Brett Favre. Got them all shook, soon as we tip off. Top of the ranking, yeah, watch how we slip off. Rushing my way, I'ma give them a stiff arm. Hey, that's all I want, that's all. Come de garçon, that's all. Hearts all on me, flex like one-on-one, yeah, yeah. Different colorways, this another one, yeah. Heard they want a tote, let me stuff my blunt, yeah. If they want the smoke, then yeah, it's no jokes, boy, it's up. In the end zone, that's a TD, we finessing job. Filling up the stat sheets and they knowing that's a plus. Back to back, highlight plays, all my moves is tough. Watch them all die out, I've been killing with my looks. Feeling like a pro, I've been schooling all these rugs. They be betting all us, calling plays out the books. Little bit of prayer, hard work, that's all it took. All I want, W's and bankrolls, that's all I want. All I want, that's all I want. W's and bankrolls, that's all I want. Hey.
Back out fresh on the scene, 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 back out fresh on the scene. Franchise best on the team, 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 back out fresh on the scene, back out fresh on the scene, back out fresh on the scene.
flex, I'm down now. Check, no drip this. Tell 'em run it up. No sleep, no rest. Might crash, might wreck. But first I stretch. Tell 'em run it up. I wake up, flex, I'm down now. Check, no drip this. Tell 'em run it up. No sleep, no rest. Might crash, might wreck. But first I stretch. Tell 'em run it up.
In my kingdom, my head go hold so tight, won't let me go. Is there really such a hole, or the day just told so? I said I hang my head. I said I hang my head. I said I hang my head, hang my head. But I got to keep on moving. Got to keep on moving. Got to keep on moving. Don't set up in the light of day.
Según el coeficiente de optimismo de la sociedad actual, la cosa, ahora mismo no está la cosa para hacer un viaje con tus amigos, ni para cambiar de moto, y mucho menos para hacer una reforma. Ahora mismo ni siquiera está la cosa para comprarte un móvil. En Imagine te ayudamos a mejorar la cosa de una vez por todas. Todas las facilidades del mundo para que te vayas de viaje, para que te compres un móvil y para que hagas lo que tú quieras. Imagine. Es hora de recuperar el optimismo.
Said the play don't stop, just do your thing, and you know you gon' be on top. It's my game, it's your game, say it now, and let the whole world watch. I said the play don't stop, just keep it going. Go ahead, let them talk.
Oye, antes de que empecemos el jaleo, por favor, pediría para ir calentando motores un poquito, un aplauso.
Hello and welcome to Madrid Urban Sports, live here from the beautiful capital of Spain. We are having an action-packed weekend full of top athletes from over 25 countries. We're talking about skateboarders, scootering, and inline skating, and now we're gonna head into the finals for BMX Park. And we're gonna have some pretty epic big names competing here today in beautiful Madrid. Talking about epic big names, I am extremely excited to introduce my co-host, the legendary Daryl Now, who probably doesn't need any introduction in the BMX world, because Daryl hosts pretty much the biggest BMX events all over the world for already over 10 years, including the Tokyo 2020. And Daryl is calling in from Brooklyn, New York. Daryl, welcome.
Julie, thank you very much. It's a big honor to be here, not only with you calling all the shots, but the fact that we have all of our riders congregated in Madrid right now for an event coming together. You just feel the energy. Everybody's been talking about this over the last couple of days. So for me to be here, part of the action, and help calling it with you, big honor.
Absolutely. And Daryl, who else knows all the tricks and like all the tiny details about the athletes as well than you? And looking at the riders list, like what are the names we're going to keep our eye on today?
Oh, well, listen, this is the cream of the crop right here. As you mentioned earlier, we had the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games. So we actually have some Olympians here, right? You can't really say that prior to this year. So we do have Nick Bruce, who's competing. We do have silver medalist Daniel Dhers out there. We have also other riders who've been making a mark, like in Extreme Barcelona the other week. Ernst Z. Bolz, who's definitely an exciting rider. So we'll get through all of the athletes. You can see them start lining up right now. But this is really a great competition where we're going to see a nice global level of riders, but also an extremely high caliber.
Absolutely. There's the riders lining up right now, prepping to start. I mean, I'm very excited for this competition. How about you, Daryl?
Yeah, Tuli, this is such a cool moment right now. So we had our qualifying taking place over the last few days, and this is the moment before the finals. You can see all the riders getting into position and the energy and excitement for what's about to come, and getting cheered on by our fans as well.
So let's also talk about the competition format a little bit. So we're going to have 12 athletes in the finals. They all have two 60-second runs, and the competition runs in 2 heats, and the best run counts.
Yeah, that's an important thing as far as format goes. We're going to definitely get into that as we're taking a look at some of our athletes right here. You see Zoltan Ujvari, who's definitely a great rider from Hungary. He's been making a mark not only during the last year and a half of pandemic, but it's great to see him afterwards in a final. Right here you have Esteban Calais from France, very talented park rider right there. He's extremely comfortable when it comes to transitions, and it's going to be interesting to see how he takes his spin on the course. Well, right there, that is your 2021 national champ of Latvia, Ernest Z. Bolds. He actually got bronze at our Extreme Barcelona contest, so it's going to be interesting to see his take on our course. That's Maxime Chalifleur from Canada. Definitely a unique rider. Gives it a little more of an artistic approach out there. Our next rider in competition is going to be Jeffrey Whaley, another Canadian rider. He also rides in Cirque du Soleil. And as far as the artistic, you'll see that merit that I'm talking about once the course happens. So there's Ash Finlay from Great Britain, another favorite. You can hear the crowd just giving the applause, getting excited before competition. But if we are going to bring up that volume a little bit, you're going to hear it right there for our Olympic silver medalist Daniel Dhers from Venezuela. He also got gold at Extreme Barcelona just a few weeks ago, so you can see how everyone is standing up and showing their respect. Well, our third place qualifier in our semifinals, that is Croatia's Marin Rantish. He's also getting that big round of applause. You see those two riders talking to each other, teammates and friends. Well, our second place qualifier is Jose Torres Gil from Argentina. Look for big blasting airs on the course. That's what helped get him on the podium in Extreme Barcelona as well. But our number one qualifier, he is also an Olympian, Nick Bruce, coming out of Youngstown, Ohio. That means that yesterday in our semifinal, he rode the course better than any other rider out there. So he's going to have the advantage to going last today. As we said, 12 riders are going to be in the finals. We just met all of the athletes. We're going to be breaking them down into two separate heats. So take a look right there. You can see just after Maxime Chalifleur in the sixth, we're going to split the heat there. Our first 6 riders are going to drop in. They're going to have the 2 runs out on the course, and then you're going to have the opportunity for the final 6, our top qualifiers. So, Thule, going back just a little bit as we're looking at the names, such a cool international field. I mean, you look at this, we have riders represented not only from the Americas, not only from most of Europe, but just having such a international vibe like this, it's going to be really important.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm very excited for this competition, looking at these names. I also saw the guys in the semis. I've seen them practice, and I mean, I'm pretty sure they're going to bring a really good show on the table today.
Yeah, absolutely. And right now we got our riders just warming up on course. You actually saw the graphic that talked about the format again. It's going to be 2 runs, 60 seconds will be on the clock, and it's going to be a best run count format. So we're going to keep talking about that because it could be anyone's game up until the final run out there, and it's just the one score. It's not an average. And essentially why that's so important, especially when you have 60 seconds, the judges are going to want to see a rider utilize the entire clock and basically put tricks in within the entire allotted period, and also not get lost, not have any crashes or feet down, and see who's confident on the course, but also maybe has the endurance who can put a bold statement at the end of their run. So the judges are going to be giving a score 0 to 100. They're professional riders themselves. They know all the details of what they're looking for. They want to see a rider take a unique approach out here, difficulty of tricks, the way that they're able to bring speed, height, and the thing that we always talk about, Thule, style.
Absolutely.
That's going to be a key factor here.
Let's see, I think the first rider is about to drop in, and we start with Alexander Sideris from Switzerland. And he also is a current Swiss national BMX Park champion.
Yeah, it's exciting to see. He's actually, Alexander's not a rider that we've seen in a lot of finals before, so it's exciting that he's getting his riding exposed to a whole new audience around the world. And that's what's so great about the Madrid Urban Sports and the Urban World Series in general, is that we really give a platform for riders. So here we go, 60 seconds, big transfer off that box jump. You see he gets the bar spin to X up. Nice cadence on the bars. There you have another version over the box jump backwards. So as we're seeing the first time on course, big 360. This is more of a linear course. And what I mean by that, riders are going to be going east and west. Yo! Big manual in with the bar spins on both ends. So as I was saying, it's a linear course where riders are going east and west, back and forth, but it's bookended by these massive quarter pipes where you do have a wall ride. You also have some sub boxes, but the riders are going to really have to showcase not only their tricks jumping over a box, but also how comfortable they are on the quarters. And as opposed to maybe a bowl or some other unique obstacle out here. So it's cool to see everyone's got the same playing field. And right now, Alexander has final 3 seconds. Let's see a 180 bar spin. Where's he going? Yeah,
Oh, nice.
Getting that cab out.
I mean, that was definitely a good start to the competition. And the first one to drop in also kind of sets the bar for the whole competition, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. As we're watching these slow-mo highlights right here, bar spin to X up, tweaking the handlebars 270 degrees. And right here was a unique line, the bar spin manual, and then has the confidence to throw the bars back in on the quarter pipe. That's a big leap of faith right there. So as we said, the score is going to come in a 72. So that's going to, yeah, like you said, set the tone for the competition. It gives the judges and riders almost about 28 points to work with to go up to that perfect score. But that's going to kind of just set the tone of where we're at for the rest of competition.
Absolutely. Next up, we have a 25-year-old Arjan Ellens from the Netherlands. And he, as you can see, he wears a full-face helmet because he also rides motocross. And he said before that he likes to bring some motocross elements into his riding. So let's see how he goes.
Yo, starting it off big on the sub box, looking for that transfer all the way to the box jump. You saw he threw the handlebars, getting the 360 backwards over the box. You're going to hear us talk about that a lot. The reason why we highlight, whoa, big backflip with the bar spin. The reason we highlight jumping it backwards is because, as you can see, when he lands, it's a steeper takeoff or a steeper landing. And it's going to be more difficult. Your margin of error is increased because your landing area is not as big as if you were jumping it in the traditional direction. Arjun right now is working it out, Thule. He's got 21 seconds and just throwing big tricks in style.
That is a power run. I mean, absolutely, I enjoy watching this.
Yeah, this is going to be key moments right here. Kicking that downside tail whip. He's going to want to keep it together. And it looks like the variations over the box. Another tail whip right there as the clock winds down. Going for the double tire, 270 and getting a little tech with that lip trick, showing you, hey, I know where I'm at. I know what's going on. And the crowd out here in Madrid showing their respect for Arjun.
Crowd in Madrid is epic in general. I mean, the Spanish people bring so much energy into the competition. It's so nice to hear how they're cheering for all the athletes. And yeah, and like the whole competition energy here is just epic.
Yeah, and they definitely got loud for that backflip bar spin and also that backflip can-can variation. So Arjun putting in a big run. Let's see if his score is going to reflect it. And look at that, Thule. He's going to have the 74. So we're going to stay in that 70s mark. A lot of room to go up, but impressive riding for our first two.
Absolutely. Next up is Zoltán Ujvar from Hungary.
All right, the Hungarian rider dropping in. Again, you see that 60 seconds. Big transfer with the 360 and the tail whip. Putting three things together right there. Downside 360 tail whip right to pedals. Transferring across. Yo! Getting the 360. I believe that was a double tail whip. Coming with the backflip transfer all the way onto that spine section in the middle. Really smooth and consistent on all of his rotations out there. So Thule, we're seeing a big flare. That's the backflip with the 180 off the quarter into that massive landing. It's kind of like a big quarter that's a little bit mellower. So it gives the riders a big embankment to land on, where you can actually try to throw your tricks a little more, and you don't have to worry about hanging up your back wheel like you would on a regular quarter pipe on that coping.
Nice
there
ending.
You go. That's the exclamation point, putting it down at the end of his run.
So Daryl, what do you think he will score? Will he stay in the 70s mark, or where will he end up?
Well, that's going to be a difficult thing to put the number as far as the his riding goes. And again, I only say that because you got the 60 seconds. You have that huge flare. Look at the height. He was about 8 feet out of that quarter pipe, really high above. We're going to see the judges right there at 78.33. So we're seeing the scores improve, but it's still just outside of the 80s.
Absolutely. But I mean, this competition is just getting more and more exciting. Next one is Istvan Caillet from France, and he's famous for his acrobatic style. He also likes to fly pretty high, so let's see what he brings on the table.
So here we go, getting ready, getting in the zone. You see him kind of visualizing the course a little bit. So much of BMX is taking what feels once impossible and making it a reality.
There you go, Daryl. Whoop. Oh no. But all the athletes still have a second run, so he can try this again the second time. But I mean, go big or go home, Daryl, right?
Oh, you said it, Thule. Going for the massive double flip. We call that the red carpet entrance.
Ooh.
You basically put all the chips on the line on the poker table and just push it across the felt. Unfortunately, Istvan got some snake eyes right there, but thankfully he is okay. He will have that second opportunity. Also want to highlight, though, if a rider does crash, which we never want to see, it's up to them to say, hey, I want to still make use of the time and go back in and finish out my run.
Yep.
But since they do have a second opportunity and it is best run count format, a lot of times we might see riders tap out.
I mean, he better save his energy for the second run and then to pull off that trick, and that's going to be a big one. Oh, I'm very excited to see that. So 30 points for the first run. Next one, Latvian, Ernst Debols.
Yeah, right now, all riders are definitely glued to the screen because we are excited to see what Ernst brings out to the course. As we said, he got bronze medal at Extreme Barcelona, and he's got the hot hands on those bars. I believe that was a 360 triple truck driver 3 times around. Ernst has such a cool style because he's comfortable on quarter pipes, but you see he has no pegs on his bike, so he almost has a trail style, but he's so comfortable even with street maneuvers. Let's see if he brings a little of that flavor, and he is just dousing the course with style right now. No-handed backflip over the box jump. You just see the fluidity of Ernst as he is flowing across the course, hitting that box jump forwards and backwards, Thule.
I mean, Ernst is such a crowd pleaser as well. The crowd's going nuts for his run here.
Oh, and that was that street element I was talking about. You saw that he landed fakie, where he actually travels backwards, and he has to use his cranks going backwards so that his wheel doesn't engage, but just so comfortable stopping that 540 and now turning around, waving it off, and you hear Madrid respecting the Latvian 2021 national champ, Ernst Debols. That was a big run. I was really impressed because he had that fluidity. Just take a look at those hands on the bars. You see 1, 2, 3 around, putting 4 tricks together. That's the double tail whip, super committed over the handlebars, finds the pedals perfectly, and then has the no-handed backflip, even 540, but to me the highlight was that 180 landing backwards.
And Ernst got 73.67 points and currently lands on the 3rd spot. That was a nice smooth run though. Next up, we're gonna go to Maxime Chalifour, Canadian. Oh, he's a crowd pleaser for sure.
Yeah, really enjoying the fact that we got our fans back together. Everyone knows it's been a wild year and a half out there, and everybody coming together here at Madrid Urban Sports. The energy is just electric, and the riders like Maxime are definitely feeding off of it as he goes over the box with, I believe that might have been a 360 triple tail whip. Thankfully, we'll have the slow-mo, and also the judges definitely have an in-house perspective, and we'll be calling and giving the proper scores with a big front flip for Maxime, Thule.
Oh, I mean, the crowd is also really cheering him. Definitely one of the crowd favorites here.
Yeah, all of our riders know that you feed off the energy of the crowd, and you can see Maxime right now is juiced up.
What was that?
Whoa, big manual with the bar spin coming in. So confident and in control. 7 seconds. Let's see if he's going to bring it. Backflip, tail whip. Maxime right now is on fire.
He definitely is on fire. I mean, look at that.
Yeah, that's what I really like. Even beyond his riding, you can just see the energy, right? Feeding off the crowd. This is what a live event is about, and Madrid is just really giving the energy, and Maxime is giving it back.
100%.
Let's take a look at the highlight right there. The tail whip's coming around multiple times. 1, 2, 3, I believe. Again, a little hard to see from my perspective, but that front flip was definitely clear as day. You got that sky in the background, and Maxime getting the big transfer with the tuck no-hander. And right here he's saying, you know what? I got bike control. I can hop in with the bar spin off the sub box. No problems at all.
77.67 points.
Wow, so right there,
Second.
not one rider has broke into the 80s yet, and I say that because they're going to have 2 opportunities, and we're going to go back to the top of the list for heat number 1.
And you know, this is the first time the event is actually happening on site in Madrid. Last year it was virtual, so everyone is super stoked to have the competitions back with spectators.
Yeah, and there's a big knack over the box jump. We're going to see a little bit now as the riders have a potential different strategy from run number 2. Everyone got a solid run for the most part in their first one, and maybe we're going to see, hey, you know what? I got the nerves out of my way. Maybe I could go with a little bit of a technique out there and change up the style or play with that risk versus reward ratio, where if you bring bigger tricks or more difficult, you have the potential to crash, or you could potentially get rewarded with a bigger score.
Absolutely.
But right now, Alexander is just cruising around the course. It looks like he's just going to focus a little more on flowing out there. You see he's just kind of feeling it out. He potentially might have got what he wanted in his first run, or might have actually had a little bit of problems in the start, and you got to go for that perfect run, and he knows that.
He got 72 points in his first run, so let's see if he improves that.
Having a good time, just kind of dorking around, throwing the style, the hips to the handlebars right there. But, you know, even though he's just joking on the course for the last couple hits, you can see the bike control, right? Still airing a few feet out. He definitely had some tire slides. You see all the other competitors down there giving him a pound. But let's look at the start of the run. Big knack with the style. Bike went completely sideways, also on that behind-the-back seat grab toboggan. Here's a nice air just flowing and floating. And there's just a kind of tail tap coming back in, hitting the rear peg with the bonk coming down. Just really Alexander having a good time. So his first score is definitely going to be the one that's going to stick for him. Not going to break into the 80s, but impressed with the Switzerland rider out there, just giving it all on both runs.
Yeah, so he scored 67.33 points in his second run, so unfortunately he didn't improve. But now we go to Arjan Ellens. Arjan also teaches kids in the Netherlands, so he's pretty much a role model for the local kids.
Yeah, well, let's see right now. You mentioned he's inspired by motocross style. He's got that full face, and let's see if he's going to wind up tapping into that. And usually what that means is you send the big tricks. Bar spin off the subwall. That was definitely a big way to do it. Tail whip to pedals coming in on the box jump with the transfer. Over backwards, 360 bar spin. I'm liking what he's serving up so far. 13 seconds in. Whoa, big backflip with the tail whip toolie, getting it right to pedals.
You know, he's also the current Dutch BMX Freestyle champion.
Yeah, great style. The backflip, 1 foot, 1-hander right there, doing a little disco dancing upside down and then putting the feet over the top tube for the can-can version flip. We are just seeing the consistency as he's working things out. Again, we're going to keep mentioning that time because the final moments are going to be the ones that potentially matter most. If he can keep the flow going, there's a chance he can up the score. Oh!
So he scored 74 in his first run. What do you think, Daryl?
Unfortunately, that crash right there is definitely going to take away from his potential score of his second run, so most likely his first will be the one that's going to put him the highest up the board. But right there, bar spin drop in, that's awesome. That's a really big sub wall, and that quarter pipe, huge drop. But it's all about the bike control, especially on that backflip tail whip. You see he kicks the wheels around and is able to spot the pedals and trying to get them both on.
62.67. So unfortunately, he did not improve his score. But I mean, you know, it's not all just about winning. It's also about having a great time. And that's definitely what all of these guys are doing here in Madrid.
Yeah, the fact that we have our crowd together, our riders traveling over the world, we're obviously taking all pandemic protocols, very safe out there, but it's just great to be around people, fellow riders, and also all of our sports. I mean, I know we've got different local graffiti artists out here. We've got break dancers, just the energy of everyone coming together. It's been so missed, and that's what's great about Madrid Urban Sports.
Definitely. So, Zoltan, 40 seconds left.
Yeah, already maximizing with that backflip transfer. You see the way he's able to float. In the middle of the course, you have all different widths as far as box jumps and spine go. So a rider has to really reflect either their transfer or how high they go on the speed when they're approaching one of those ramps. Because if you have too much gas, you could wind up landing flat, or you have the option, let me pull up really high or potentially transfer from one takeoff to another landing.
For sure.
Zoltan right now kicking the downside tail whip, looking for a bar spin across. Tuli's got final thoughts right here. It's going to be a toboggan, 3, 2, 1, and a big flare at the end of his run.
And you know, Zoltan is currently on top of the leaderboard from the first heat with 78.33 points. So let's see if he improves his score or not.
Yeah, and there's the transfer. That's a great perspective that you can see. He actually went all the way across that spine ramp and landed in the extended spine. Here's a look at the extended spine from lip to landing. So you see all the different uses of the course, and that seems like what the judges have been favoring so far.
76.33 points. So unfortunately, he didn't improve, but he is still on top of the leaderboard. Next up, we go to France. Istvan Kailé.
All right, the Frenchman dropping in, double backflip.
There you go,
boom.
he landed it. Daryl, amazing.
Yeah, sticking that clean. That's what he wanted the first run, and then going for a decade around. I'm going to call it a decade because his back wheel stood stationary as opposed to a downside 360 tail whip. Slipping a pedal right there. Let's see if you can get back in the zone. Sometimes you can get out of your groove or your headspace, and it looks like, I don't know if he's going to grab back onto the wave, but let's see. Building back the momentum. You never want to count a Frenchman out. Backflip double tail with the helicopter. Another big move right there. But let's see, the energy is definitely coming down a little bit. Might have some headspace trying to get in there. We might see another banger over the box jump. Here we go, coming back in. It looks like.
And you were right, Daryl.
Cash roll. Wow.
I mean, what a comeback, Daryl, after his first run, right?
And then the 720, and this is after the buzzer, just getting the respect from the crowd right there.
Yep, I mean,
very cool.
The crowd is also massive here. There's so many people watching this competition, and the guys are definitely giving them a proper show.
All right, well, Esteban with a lot of highlights. There's the double backflip, so committed, and there's a look at the backflip double tail whip. So you're seeing things go double time as he's backwards, and there's a look at that cash roll. That's such a wild trick. It's almost as if you're floating backwards and you do a flip and then 180 back around. So he definitely had the big bangers as far as the tricks go, but had some difficulty putting it all together.
So he will definitely improve his score. Do you think he will cross the 80s mark now? Let's see.
Well, he's got to get above a 78.34.
78.33. So he actually has the same score as the first spot holder at the moment.
So you can see just outside the 80s right there. Impressive run, but not able to pop in. Tied for first.
Now back to Latvia, Ernst Zebolds.
All right, now as Ernst gets ready to drop in, let's keep in mind he did have a solid first run, but he did podium 2 weeks ago at Extreme Barcelona, so he might turn things up in his second run. I have a feeling that we are going to see a lot more bar spin variations and potentially a little more out of that backwards 180 landing. Here we go, double tail up on the quarter, 360 double bar spin, looking for that tuck no-hander. Zebolds really can just put so many tricks in one air, like those crazy 360 combinations. Whoa, looking for the height right there. You saw he wanted that no-hander, but he had to adjust his rotation speed so he didn't loop out. But the thing we are noticing is he's going actually a little bit higher off each one of these hits. He is charged up, and he gets the 180 double bar spin. Thule, that was a huge trick, coming in fakey, and he still got both bars around twice, hands on the grip, and was smooth on his half cab out.
I mean, this kid is coming in strong.
And it looks like that's going to be time, and Madrid right now definitely giving it up for the Latvian rider.
Absolutely.
Yeah, much respect. Ernst, let's look at some of the highlights. There's the 360 triple bar spin that we saw in that first run, but look at that combination. There was the 360 bar spin, X up and turn down. Great style in that 360 where he cranked with his pedals and then had the variation of the three, but that 180 double bar spin was what it was really about out there.
He literally scored the same points as in the first run, 73.67.
Wow, so even though he had the bar spin on the 180, there were a little bit of difficulties where he wasn't flowing as much, but still impressive showing for Ernst Zebolds.
Definitely. And now we go to Maxime Chalifour.
Here we go. This is what it's about, the payoff in Madrid, the crowd.
Definitely.
Maxime already got first place, just feeling the crowd's energy back, and a huge extension on that 360 bar spin to tuck no-hander. Maxime just looks so confident on the course. His body language, knowing where his presence is, and being in the headspace to feed off the crowd like that. Really impressive.
I mean, wow. This is, yeah. Oh, no.
That is disappointing. So getting that crash, it looks like he's just going to use the rest of his time to showboat a little bit. And please take it, Maxime.
Yeah, have
Get
fun
that
with
energy.
It.
Wow, so Maxime right there, he was our 6th rider for heat number 1. That means that heat's going to wrap up. We're going to take a look at highlights as you see those next 6 riders going out onto course. But the extension on that no-hander was so awesome, especially on that backflip bar spin. And he just puts the handlebars right in his lap so you can see his front end is stabilized and he's able to get the style with the wingspan all the way out there.
Definitely. 60 points. So he didn't improve, but I mean, he's really having a great time here at Madrid. And as I said, that's also a big part of the whole competition and this whole weekend, right?
It really is. I mean, you know, it's been a challenging year and a half, and you just see the energy. I mean, look, we're way beyond capacity as far as even being able to be in the stands or where we're at. And that just means there's so many fans of BMX action sports out here that really want to be a part. It's great that we're outdoors, we're practicing again all of the pandemic protocols, but just to be around everybody and be celebrating, that's really a big part of action sports. And you just see everybody in the house having a great time, just congregating here in the center of Madrid.
For sure. And Daryl, you know, there's a really interesting fact about Madrid Urban Sports I wanted to share with you. Did you know that all the medals for the winners are made out of recycled plastics? So, like, this whole competition is really making a sustainability move, and I'm really impressed by that.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's so cool to see that we're just being aware and pushing forward. And not only do you get an opportunity to win a medal, but just to know that this whole event is pushing forward in the sustainability. It's a really cool thing that Madrid Urban Sports has been doing.
For sure. And anyone watching, if you're not yet following us on Instagram, go check out @Urban World Series. There's a lot of behind-the-scenes scoop and also a lot of information about the event series in general.
Yeah, and you want to follow us on there also because we do a lot of events throughout the course of the year. You heard us talking about Extreme Barcelona. That was just a few weeks ago. And any rider who travels around Europe knows that Spain is always a destination. It's been for almost 20 years for skaters, BMXers, and scooter riders alike. So you want to stay up to date and help plan your next trip to Europe and come to one of our events, whether it's the second edition where we have a crowd for Madrid Urban Sports or Extreme Barcelona or any one of our other fun online video events that we have as well.
Absolutely. I think we're getting ready to start heat number 2 with Jeffrey Whaley from Canada. Jeffrey is a very interesting athlete. I mean, he's going to bring some big tricks on the table for sure. He's in Cirque du Soleil, Daryl. I mean, we also saw him in Barcelona, and he did not disappoint.
Let's see what Whaley's going to bring in for heat number 2.
Strong start.
Very strong backflip, and I believe that was a double tail whip known as the helicopter. So much is going on. Jeffrey gets his feet back to pedals. He winds up getting back, recovering with the tail whip going around. I think that was 3 times, Julie, where he had just wound up committing over the handlebars. And we see right now coming in with a tail whip again 2 times into the quarter pipe. Jeffrey is going with the hot bars 360 double truck driver as he gets past that 30-second mark.
20 seconds, Jeff, 20 seconds.
He's definitely known for some tricks that no one else does.
Oh!
Oh no. But I mean, Daryl, as we saw from the first heat, if some guys have a bit of a mistake in the first run, they still have a second run. So, you know, the game is not lost yet. Absolutely not.
Yeah, we're going to see that really reflect in this second round of riding because essentially we talk about 12 riders. They're going in reverse order from our yesterday semifinal. So in theory, as we work through this list, there are riders who were able to have more control in the semis that will hopefully transfer over into the finals. Like you see Jeffrey right there with that committed triple tail whip, weight over the handlebars, and just really was able to get it back. Very impressive trick. Unfortunately, did have that crash. It's not going to be a full reflection, but good riding up till that point.
So Jeffrey kicked off the second heat with 70.67 points. So you see, Daryl, all the guys so far have stayed in the 70 mark, but I'm pretty sure that some of the guys from this heat will bring the bar over 80 as well. Ash Finley.
If I had to put money on a rider to do that, it would definitely be Great Britain's Ash Finley with the backflip over the box jump backwards. Definitely increasing the difficulty, firing back with that 360 tail whip variation, getting it around multiple times. Ash right now looking for the line as he hits with an unlook down into the quarter pipe landing, 360 can-can. Ash is trying to just work it out, find his line as he wall taps, setting up for that no-handed transfer. Coming back up, getting his bearings as he just comes into the box jump with a big double backflip.
Didn't land it, but I mean, that was just, of course, Ash is such a strong rider, like he's so powerful. Of course he's going to try something like that.
Yeah, and if he wasn't able to, his foot did slip off, but if you even roll away from a double backflip, that's such a big trick over these jumps. It's still very impressive and going for that tail whip version of the flare right there. So you saw Ash was really able to recover, which was great. The Madrid crowd loving what the Great British rider is serving up. Ash Finley right there. As we take a look, here you go, the double backflip, and then you saw that he wound up having almost a little bit too much juice coming down. Almost went off the back of the bike, but almost is the key word as he just touched a foot down. He was able to recover. There's that backflip 180 with the tail whip, spotting the landing and coming into pedals.
76.67 points for Ash. So he didn't cross the 80 bar. I'm looking forward to someone cross the 80 bar now. But Daniel Torres, I mean, who else would do that as our Olympian, our silver medalist, Daniel Torres. Also took gold in Barcelona 2 weeks ago, in Extreme Barcelona, as you just mentioned. Definitely the crowd favorite.
Yeah, Daniel Dhers has been a veteran in the sport of BMX because if there's a major competition, he has either been on the podium, he's gotten the gold cup, the gold medal, the big checks, but he still has the passion for riding, and it's so cool to see him out here after Tokyo 2020, where he did win that medal, and he said, hey, you know what? The Madrid Urban Sports is such an important event. It's so cool that we got our riders together, and Daniel is not slowing down. Here we go, over the box jump, the cash roll right there. Getting it clean, big no-hander. Dhers with the 360 double tail whip transfer. That's some signature Daniel Dhers style right there as he gets the extension on that corked out no-handed 720. Daniel Dhers has 20 seconds down, 40 to go as he flip transfers, and he's working the course, going left to right, back and forth, putting the backflip bar spin in. Dhers right now trying to utilize this final 21 seconds no-handed backflip. This is going to be make or break in Daniel's run because he had such a great first 45 seconds. He wants to keep it going. 10 seconds to go. Can Dhers keep it together? 720 forked out. Final 5 seconds. What's Dhers going to do?
Of course.
Yo, big flare with the tail whip at the buzzer. Huge run, and listen to our Madrid crowd, Tuli.
I mean, epic. And I mean, if anyone, then Daniel has all the big tricks in his bag. And I mean, he is defending his gold from 2 weeks ago for this Urban World Series.
Yeah, taking a look right now, that is the cash roll. Daniel Dhers was actually one of the first riders to help invent that trick. And he's showing you how it's done. Again, signature Daniel Dhers. You can just see the silhouette of his body as he threw down that no-handed corked 720. Also at the end, that flare tail whip, which was a huge one that said, hey, judges, I know the clock, I'm feeling in control, and I put together a full run.
And we crossed the 80 bar, 85.67 points. There you go.
Wow, Daniel popping into the 80s right there. Impressive run for Dhers.
But you know, next one, we have a very interesting profile, Marin Rantes from Croatia. You know, he's one of the 3 guys who can do a 720 double whip. It's really like, this guy has some pretty epic tricks in his bag. And he rides brakeless. I think it's also an interesting fact to mention.
Yeah, so the Croatian dropping in 360 double tail whip to bar spin, 4 tricks in 1 air, fires back with the triple bar spin. Marin has really come into his own and found his voice in the last few years of BMX, and you can tell that he's been putting in some homework on the off season in the last year and a half of no competition during the pandemics, because Marin right now is dialed as he is just in control, throwing it down big.
Well, this kid's not kidding around at all.
Yeah, that was a wild 720 variation with the whips right there. Thankfully, we are going to have that slow-mo reel, but you can almost put the entire run in slow-mo because Marin right now is just banging out hammer after hammer as he gets that big 360 double tail whip into the flare. 8 seconds to go. Marin with the double tail whip. Wow, Tuli, let's see what his final thought is going to be. He's going to go with the crowd-pleasing wave right there.
Final thought is to say hello to the crowd and just like celebrate his great run.
Well, let's take a look at the many highlights of Mr. Rantes as he got that 360 double tail whip and the bar spin. That was definitely a highlight, that 720 tail whip. So committed to get the 2 full rotations of your body around and still have that back end get around in time to find pedals.
Let's see the score. I think he's going to cross the 80 bar definitely. Judges are taking their time with this one.
Yeah, it's a hard thing to do because you got to see.
87, and he takes the lead. There you go.
Wow. So we have 2 riders in the 80s. In the top of the board right now is the Croatian Marin Rantes.
But I mean, next up we have Jose Torres, aka Maligno, who is known for his massive aerial tricks, and I can't wait what Maligno will do now.
Yeah, Tuli, I'm going to echo what you said. Ariel, indeed, watch the height.
There you go.
Maligno just goes unofficially higher than any rider so far of competition. Torres firing back with the no-handed 360 backwards over the box at height and then lands in a disaster stall. 720 with the bar spin, tucking it right into the lap to spin up rotation on the second time around. Maligno right now is so in control, and watch as he just zigzags back and forth on the courts in a big front flip. Maligno throwing down as he still has 24 seconds. I mean, he basically has just been hitting every single wall with huge, huge tricks. So let's see if Maligno can keep that height, and that's a difficult thing to do because that means you have to be landing really high in the transition and able to keep your speed going.
And there you go.
Big 360 transfer, so cool to get all the way, and then a 720 transfer.
I mean, seriously, Daryl, what did we just witness? I mean,
that's going to potentially, Tuli, that's going to potentially shake things up as far as the podium spots go. But let's look what we're talking about. Watch the height here. Are you kidding? You actually saw it. The cameraman had to zoom out a little bit because he almost went out of frame. And that just goes to show how high Maligno can blast.
Yeah, I mean, even the camera crew was clapping for him when he finished his run. That was so impressive.
So the score to beat is an 87.
90 points. There you go. We have a new leader.
Wow. So Torres, Argentina, blasting to the top of the leaderboard right there, cracking into the 90s.
Super nice. But we still have Nick Bruce, another Olympian. Nick, unfortunately, didn't, he crashed last time in Barcelona, but here he's doing a comeback at World Urban Series, and let's see how he does now.
He was our #1 qualifier, so let's see if he can bring that same heat and flavor as he throws down the backflip, tail whip variations. Again, Nick Bruce looking to make up for some lost time in Extreme Barcelona as he does the flare tail whip to pedals. Bruce, no-handed 360, so smooth on his landings. Opposite direction wall ride, double tail whip over that hip. Let's see as Bruce gets the momentum over the box, no-handed 360 backflip, also known as the air traffic controller. Shout out to the late great Dave Mira, one of the first riders to really put that on the map, and Nick Bruce right now showing his respects as he gets a flip transfer, almost a barrel roll right there. Bruce looking to keep it flowing as he gets that no-hander with nice extension. X up with 9 seconds to go. Downside double 360 tail whip. Kicking it around. Nick Bruce can maybe squeeze something else in, and it's going to be a 360.
Whew, I mean, second hit's really bringing in some power moves, Daryl, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, Nick Bruce out there definitely getting that full run. I'm not sure if it was exactly what he wanted to do the whole time, but he had the massive highlights. I believe that might have been a backflip triple tail whip. Again, a little hard to see from my perspective. Huge move, whether it's a double or a triple. Either way, the judges are definitely going to be able to see it clearly and call that and put that down on paper. But Bruce had the full amount of time, and he's going to have to get...
And he's the new leader, 91.67 points, Daryl.
Wow, so Nick Bruce, USA, you can see he's pleased right there, getting the pound, moving up to the top of the board. But this still could be anyone's game because it's a 2-run format, best run counts. What we're going to do now, a heat number 2, is re-rack the deck, and each rider is going to get another chance to go out on course and up above that 91 score.
And I mean, the second run can really shuffle up the whole leaderboard, right?
Yeah, because right now you definitely have that strategy where riders know they have to pour it on for their second run to get above where Nick Bruce is at. Can transfer for Jeffrey Wally. Let's see, looking back this time as he gets extension coming over the box again with the tail whips on lock, hitting the button, and that back end goes around multiple times. Jeffrey floating into that transition as he kicks a double tail whip onto that quarter pipe. 360 double bar spin hot hands. Jeffrey wants to get into the 90s and get on podium.
Ooh. Well, you know what? That's part of the game.
It is. It looked like Jeffrey maybe had that throttle pinned so hard right there. He got a little bit loose on that transfer. When you go off the lip, you sometimes get stuck and you're not able to kind of get your body weight where you want to go. He's got that paper thin margin to find that transfer into the lip and unfortunately wound up washing out. But there you go. Backflip, double tail whip right to pedals. And then he throws that toboggan on the quarter pipe. There's a look at the look back air. And then he did, unfortunately, have that crash.
So he got 67 points. Unfortunately, he didn't improve his first score. But I mean, he's definitely having a great time here in Madrid, competing or just riding with all his friends, you know. Because he's here with his friend Maxime Chalifour. Back to Great Britain, Ashley Finlay.
Come on, Ash, backflip over the box jump backwards. I can't emphasize that enough. So ridiculous to do. You have such a difficult way to come in on a steep landing. But Ash Finlay is making it look good as he no-handers into the transition of the transfer. Getting that unlooked down, maybe even buzzed his tire on his shoulder, getting super contorted. Come on, Ash, hitting that wall tap. Looking to turn things up on the second half of his run as Ash goes up on top, checks in for a moment, looking to charge big on the box.
Oh!
Boom!
Well...
Unfortunately, Ash going down on that double backflip. Thule, I just want to say personally, I'm a huge fan of Ash's riding. Big ups and much respect to you, Ash. You went for it to go for the double flip in the middle of your run. You see the commitment on the single flip and where his body had to be over the box jump backwards. But maybe we'll see a shot of the double backflip, and you see how he had to pull into the handlebars to speed his rotation up. And mentally, you have to be so committed on your first flip to say, hey, the rotation's going to go proper on my second one. So big commitment right there. Thankfully got around. Unfortunately, didn't roll away.
I mean, I'm also a big fan of Ashton. Unfortunately, he didn't improve his score. But, you know, also the effort what counts. Like just going and taking a risk and just putting up a great show. Part of the sport. Daniel Dhers. There you go. Crowd favorite.
So now let's watch if Daniel changes his technique out on the course. He knows he's going to need a big score to potentially go above Nick Bruce. Daniel Dhers is a very strategic rider. He got his first run in, but he always has some more in the tank. And there he has that cash roll, getting things around. Daniel wants to get another gold medal here, and he does have those abilities. So let's see what he does after this bar spin. Yes, the backflip variation, this time Xing things up with the bar as well. Daniel Dhers, no-handed 360. Opposite air right there, getting set up. Again, he's zigzagging across the course. Definitely take note of that. Not only is he going east-west, but he's going north-south, hitting each one of those spines, extended spines or hips, and that's definitely been rewarded well thus far. Let's see. Come on, Daniel. You got 4 seconds to go. Flare tail whip, getting it down right there.
There you go. I mean, he's one of the most decorated riders of all time, so he does never disappoint.
There you go, showing off the guns, flexing a little bit right there. But let's take a look as Dhers comes in with that no-handed 720. He might have actually did another variation. Again, a little difficult to see from my house, but what I can see clearly is that it was almost a 720 flat spin, but cash roll somewhere in between. You can just call it as you want, but I'll call it awesome because Dhers right there stuck the pedals and got it done.
So 83.67 points. Unfortunately, he did not improve his score.
So 2 more riders remain beyond Nick Bruce. These are going to be the only potential shots to knock Nick Bruce off that leaderboard. It's going to be Marin Rantish and Jose Torres Gil. But right now, the Croatian rider is getting it done as he starts things off with that big 4-hit combination again. Marin really wants to be in that top spot, and as we said, he's been doing his homework in the offseason. Well, let's see what he's going to bring back at us.
Oh.
Wow, Thule, that was some wild tail whip variations. Again, we will have that slow-mo to see how many times it went around, but there was the 360 triple bar spin. Yo, getting it done. Marin coming back with the 360, getting that nose down. Let's see if he can keep the momentum going. We saw Jose Torres Gil had the speed and the height all the way through the end of his run, and that's going to be the same page that Marin is going to want to take right here as he gets that 360 double tail whip straight into a flare tail whip.
Oh, he's on fire.
Working things out. Come on, Croatia.
Well, until the very end, Daryl, this was very entertaining to watch. So he has 87 points from his first run. Let's see how the judges score him on his second one.
Yeah, now let's keep in mind what he's got to do is get above a 91.68 as we break down the madness of that 360 double tail whip to bar spin on the transfer. Here's over the box. 1, 2, 3. I believe that was 4 times around. I mean, he is going so fast. It's almost impossible to tell from our perspective, but that 720 with the tail whip, as you mentioned, he's got that unlocked. Not many other riders can put that down.
So he did not take any winning score, but he still had a great run, Daryl.
All right, well, now the pressure is on. Jose Torres, the Argentinian, is the only rider that could potentially knock Nick Bruce out of that 91.68 spot on the top. Right now, Torres Gil with so much height. Take a look as he is just going up, up, and away here in Madrid. Disaster on the quarter, puts the pedal down for that 720 tail whip. Wow, so Torres knows that it's going to take a lot right here to up the ante, and the height is so high from Torres, Tuli.
I mean, he's flying, and he's such an amazing technical rider. I mean, look at his run, Daryl.
That front flip was massive. Again, the height, I don't care if we sound like a broken record talking about the altitude, because Jose Torres is just pouring it on here for his second run. Coming back at us, big no-hander. Let's see again, watch the air. If he can keep those smooth landings, he can keep his momentum, putting the pedals on. Big tail whip transfer. Slipping a pedal a little bit, but it was at the end of his run. 360 with the nose bonk, just showing a little style there at the end. So big run from Maligno.
Absolutely. What a show.
Well, let's take a look at the many highlights. Coming into the box jump, 360 tail whip, and said, I'm going to make that a 720 while I'm at it. Take a look at the height as well, corked out to the side, and that front flip just flying the friendly skies of Madrid out here as Jose Torres Gil Airlines just smooth on the re-entry down to planet Earth.
So unfortunately, he did not score over Nick Bruce, but what a great run nevertheless. 86 points. Didn't cross his 90 bar the last time. So Daryl, looks like Nick Bruce is here to win, and that's it. Taking it all. Look at that smile on his face.
It looks like the Team USA rider of Nick Bruce is going to be out here for what we like to call a victory lap, Julie.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of the advantage that you get when you come in first place in a semifinal. You go last, and you have that opportunity because then you say, hey, how much do I have to potentially pour it on or not?
Right.
But right now, we're going to see one of the best riders out there. And what's he going to do? Is he just going to cruise? Is he going to put on a demo? Or maybe he'll take one of the pages out of the Canadians and just go down there and get the crowd hyped up. We'll see. But right now, Nick Bruce dropping in. Yeah, big backflip, tail whip variations over the box. Bruce out there lofting a 360. Having a good time on that inverted flare. So Nick knows that he definitely got that first place spot, and he is just enjoying a stress-free lap out on the course, Tuli.
Just cruising with his win. Well-deserved cruise, I would say.
Yeah, casual backflip just floating across the park. Nick right there taking it in. What an awesome moment for USA's Nick Bruce.
Absolutely. And Daryl, while we're at it, I'm going to run down to the chorus, congratulate Nick, have a little chat to him. So I will be back with you in a few minutes.
Awesome. Thule going to go down into the ring of fire on the battlefield where you can see the smoke rising from our 12 finalists here at Madrid Urban Sports. But we're going to take a look at this victory lap as Bruce right there gets the flip tail whip variations, kicking it around multiple times. There's a look at that invert flare with the backflip. Huge lofter right there, putting the pedals down, known as the ET. And Nick Bruce is known as the champion. So you can see Nick Bruce in the top spot, Jose Torres Gil in 2, and Croatia's Marin Rantish in 3. Daniel Dhers is going to be in 4th. And as you can see, those riders were in the 80s and 90s respectively. What a cool moment out here, taking a look at that view of our course. And right now you got Nick Bruce, who threw down. Thankfully, things went his way. As we mentioned, 2 weeks ago in Extreme Barcelona, he had a little bit of difficulties on the course, but he definitely got redemption today. So awesome to be out here in Madrid. If you're not following us on Instagram at Urban World Series, stay up to date. Not only knowing when our next our next Madrid Urban Sports will be, but we also have Extreme Barcelona, a ton of events online as well.
Nick Bruce, winner of Madrid Urban Sports, BMX Park Finals. I mean, what an epic show. I mean, what are some of the emotions you're experiencing right now?
I'm in shock. Everyone rode amazingly, and I'm just very happy right now.
Are you happy with like a whole competition and the vibe here in Madrid, or what are you feeling about that?
Oh my God, the crowd here is absolutely amazing. It's just an honor how much they love our sport and how much they cheer for us. It's just an incredible feeling when you're up top and about to drop in and you have this amazing crowd. It's just a really great feeling.
Amazing. Thank you so much and congratulations once again.
Thank you so much.
Big respect. Nick Bruce, way to come out and get it done. Magic moment for the United States. Nick Bruce coming out on top, getting that gold medal. Thule down there getting some perspective and energy from our champion here at Madrid Urban Sports. But taking a look at all of our fans who were able to watch these highlights in person. There was that 360 double tail whip. Look at the backflip double tail whip coming around. I mean, this whole event was so cool. 12 riders were out there, 2 runs apiece, 60 seconds, and really just worked some magic on this course. There was a look at Nick Bruce doing that invert flare, and that helped put him on top of the leaderboard. But you definitely want to stay tuned to our Instagram at Urban World Series, where you can see all the behind the scenes of our athletes, not only with BMX, but we have scootering, skateboarding, rollerblading, breakdancing, basketball, and we got Thule back in the booth as well.
Daryl, I mean, I was just down there at the park chatting to the guys, congratulating Nick Bruce. It's just, I think his win has such a great meaning as well, knowing how he crashed in Barcelona. And like the whole friendship of the guys, and like really you can feel it in the competition. And it was an epic show, wouldn't you say?
It really was. And to go one step further with Nick Bruce, he unfortunately had an injury when he was at the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games, and he wasn't able to perform there. And I know that that got to play a big role in your mental physique and how you feel. And then to have that not go his way in Extreme Barcelona, you could hear the appreciation and him going out and being able to actually shine today in his voice.
Absolutely. And I mean, the whole competition with all the riders. I mean, we saw some pretty incredible tricks here today. I'm going to go home after this and going to rewatch the live again. And I hope everyone who's on a YouTube channel is going to do the same.
Yeah, it was really, really great to have our riders. But right now you got that podium, as you said, getting those awesome recycled medals. The bronze goes to Croatia, Marin Rantish, as we said, putting the work in the off season. Second place, silver, went to Jose Torres Gil from Argentina with those big blasting moves. But right now, the gold medal going out to the USA's Nick Bruce with the high score of a 91.67.
And I mean, Nick has smiles for miles. And as you said, he's had some tough competition luck lately. And taking gold from here is such a great achievement for him. I'm so happy for Nick.
It really is. And we're going to give a shout out back to Youngstown, Ohio for Nick Bruce right now. That's definitely his hometown. If you haven't followed Nick Bruce on his own Instagram, you can. It's just at Nick Bruce, and you can see where he rides and trains at his own private ramp facility called the Brew House in Ohio as well. So very cool to see USA out there, Nick Bruce getting the gold medal.
And Daryl, thank you so much for bringing in all the epic commentary. I mean, this competition was also next level because of you. Like, you know everything about the riders, the competition, the tricks. Such a pleasure to have you here again with us.
Well, Thule, thank you so much for saying that. But when you're such a fan of BMX as I am, it's almost easy. It writes itself because I'm excited to cheer these riders on as well. I would like to say to all the BMXers around the world, if you felt inspired today watching this, go out and ride. You don't necessarily have to be doing these pro-level tricks. You got to start somewhere, and the way to do it is taking a page from our gold medalist, Nick Bruce, and just put a smile on your face and go out and ride today.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. And also, thank you everyone who was watching the show. As Daryl already mentioned a while ago, go follow us at Urban World Series as well, because we're going to have more competitions coming up next year. And there's going to be some pretty cool stuff on the Instagram page as well. And Daryl, thank you once again for joining me here today. And yeah, thanks everyone for watching. Thanks Madrid for bringing it.
Time to run it up. I wake up. Yeah. I wake up, flex, I'm down now. Check. No drip, this. Time to run it up. No sleep, no rest. Might crash, might wreck. But first I stretch. Time to run it up. I wake up, flex, I'm down now. Check. No drip, this. Time to run it up. No sleep, no rest. Might crash, might wreck. But first I stretch. Tell them run it. 9 out of 10 roll through my hands, I'm by my lonely. Turned to a savage, now my baby wants to hold me. I love my fans, don't need no friends, I got my homies. Thought I could trust you, I find out you tried to zone me. I'm number one up on that court, I'm Nick McGrady. The first one in, the last one out, can't call me lazy. Put in my hours, send the invoice and they pay me. I need 6 rings like MJ and Tom Brady. I wake up, flex, thumb down now. Check. No drip, this. Tell them run it up. No sleep, no rest. Might crash, might wreck. But first I stretch. Tell them run it up. I wake up, flex, thumb down now. Check. No drip, this. Tell them run it up. No sleep, no rest. Might crash, might wreck. But first I stretch. Tell them run it up. Y'all gon' make me take that trip way out to Europe. I call up Nigeria, come through in a hurry. Those London boys don't come to play, you should get worried. One false move, find yourself, they getting buried. Dance with the devil, used to love playing those games. Made some bad decisions that brought my mama pain. I made a promise to her, swore that I would change. I'm on the come up, bet I live up to my name.
In my kingdom, my head go hold so tight, won't let me go. Is there really such a hole, or the day just told me so? I said I hang my head, I said I hang my head, I said I hang my head, but I got to keep on moving, got to keep on moving, got to keep on moving. Outside up in the light of day.
Según el coeficiente de optimismo de la sociedad actual, la cosa, ahora mismo no está la cosa para hacer un viaje con tus amigos, ni para cambiar de moto, y mucho menos para hacer una reforma. Ahora mismo ni siquiera está la cosa para comprarte un móvil. En Imagine te ayudamos a mejorar la cosa de una vez por todas. Todas las facilidades del mundo para que te vayas de viaje, para que te compres un móvil y para que hagas lo que tú quieras. Imagine. Es hora de recuperar el optimismo.
Said the play don't stop, just do your thing, and you know you gon' be on top. It's my game, it's your game. top.
Swipe, 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 swipe. Just picked up some bands, come again, come again.